Greenshade Lore, Part 1. Gifts of the Nereids. When I was young, my parents brought me to the cave where the priests worshipped the Nereids. They dedicated to me the temple so that I might one day become a priest too. There were only 3 other children in the temple when I was growing up. The others made fun of me until I was 10 years old, because one of my legs was shorter than the others, and I had a limp. One day we were running through the cave, something that was forbidden, but the priests often looked the other way, letting children be children, and I tripped and fell face down into the water. I hit my head and blacked out. The other children were far ahead of me already, so they didn't see. Later, the priest told me that one of the Nereids had lifted me out of the water. I said I didn't remember that happening, but later on, I did recall the feeling of floating and also a kind of terror, like I had seen something I was not supposed to see, something that was too beautiful for mortal eyes. The priests instructed us in our relationship to the Nereids. We were required to memorize the gifts and repeat them back to every day. The gifts of the Nereid are threefold: the beauty of their form, the sweetness of their singing, and protection from harm. The older children got to help the priests with the rituals. Meat was brought to the central altar to feed the Nereids, and once a year, one priest would go deep into the cave to meditate among their singing. When he would emerge, he would give a prophecy. When he comes of age, each child has a choice to stay and become a priest, or to go into exile. After so many years living in the cave, I could not imagine another life, and so I chose the priesthood. But sometimes I long for sunlight and wonder where a different path might have taken me, and what sights I might have seen if I had chosen exile. The Eldest, a Pilgrim's Tale. In bright springtime, when the ground is drunk with rainwater, and the sun smiles on the Valenwood, the Wood Elves travel to the den of the Eldest, an ancient strangler. There they offer thanks to Ifrei for the blooming of yet another spring, and they read the history of their home in the branches of the Eldest. Then a great festival is thrown by the Green Pact Bosmer in celebration of the springtime in the Eldest. Then elves celebrate long into the night, drinking and regaling each other with stories of past festivals and pilgrims. The tales run both sacred and profane. There's the tale of the notorious warlord, whose entire army stopped at the den of the Eldest and went in to pay their respects. When they emerged, they dropped their weapons to the ground and left them where they lay, and they never made war again. But there is also the tale of the impish wood elf, who spiked the pilgrim's punch with a powder ground from the dung of timber mammoths that caused the entire gathering to be troubled by the most foul odors from their backsides. Long into the night they groaned as the stink grew unbearable, until they were all so inured to the smell that their groans turned to bursts of laughter that filled the woods. They also tell of the first pilgrims, an old childless couple who tended the Eldest as their own offspring. They became the first Sylvanar and the first Green Lady. There are many more tales the pilgrims tell, but few have been written down. The curious would do best to travel to the Eldest in springtime and hear the stories and behold the ancient strangler for themselves. The Green Pact and the Dominion. Just like trees grow towards the sun, and you can hear different birds singing when the moons are out than when they are not, every wood elf born in Valenwood, and indeed nearly everyone born outside of it, knows of the Green Pact. The Green Pact is the agreement between the Wood Elves and Ifre that has guided our existence from the beginning of the great story. Its rules are clear. Do not harm the forest. Do not eat anything made from plant life. Eat only meat. When you conquer your enemies, eat their flesh. Do not leave them to rot. Do not kill wastefully. Do not take on the shape of beasts. You are Wood Elves. Your form is sacred. This is the Green Pact. In exchange for keeping to this pact, the forest, which we call the Green, has provided us with ample food and shelter. Ifre has given us the limited gift to ask the forest to share itself, to shape to our needs. We have been amply blessed. But now we find ourselves in a new situation. Our new allies, the High Elves and the Khajiit, do not hold to the Green Pact. They live in houses made of thatch and timber. They eat all manner of fruits and berries and drink wine made from grapes. They find the devouring of one's enemies barbaric. How are the Wood Elves of Valenwood to accommodate these new allies while keeping to the Green Pact? It is a question that perplexes many Wood Elves today, especially the newly erected city of Marbrook. In the past, we have fought wars over lesser defilement of the Green. At the same time, we recognize at the time of the Dominion's founding, the Green Lady and the Sylvanar spoke on behalf of the Wood Elves and the Green Pact. We remember that we have a powerful mouthpiece in the Thalmor, Woodheart's own tree-themed Fariel. These are the leaders we should look to in this uncertain time. They have shown us through their actions an example which we can all follow. We must welcome these allies with true Wood Elf hospitality. We must not pick fights with them. We must try not to steal from them. Many of them do not appreciate the right of theft, but that is a subject for another essay. But at the same time, we should not shy away from speaking out in our own interests and in that of the Green. Because of Tree-Thane Fariel's powerful voice, much of the timber and all of the thatch from Marbrook was brought into Valenwood from other parts. For many, the fact that so many trees had to be felled to clear space for the city is unforgivable, but Fariel saw that accommodating our allies is the first step to a strong defense of Valenwood against those who would surely destroy it. Queen Iren's willingness to listen is a sign of her wisdom and respect for the Wood Elf people. We should repay her by being willing to trust her leadership. The Oooms, a fable. This is the story the Wood Elves of Valenwood tell their children from a very young age. Once, there was nothing but formlessness. The land held no shape. The trees did not harden into timber and bark, and the elves themselves shifted from form to form. This formlessness was called the Oooms. But Ifre took the ooze and ordered it. First, she told of the Green, the forest, and all the plant life in it. She gave the Green the power to shape itself as it willed, for it was her finest tale. The elves were Ifre's second tale. As Ifre spun the story, the elves took the form they have today. Ifre gave them the power to tell stories, but warned them against trying to shape themselves or the Green. Shifting and the destruction of the forest were forbidden. Instead, Ifre commanded the Wood Elves to the Green, so that they might ask the Green to provide them with shelter and a safe passage. As long as they respected the Green, it would obey. This is called the Green Pact. Finally, Ifre told of all the beasts that crawl on the land or swim in the rivers or fly in the air. These Ifre gave to the Wood Elves as sustenance. They were to eat no plants, but to consume only meat. Ifre also told that no Wood Elf who is struck down by another Wood Elf should be allowed to sink into the ground, but should instead be consumed like beasts. This is called the Meat Mandate. When the stories were told, Ifre saw that they had a pleasing shape, but some of the ooze remained. Ifre told a final tale then, and gave purpose to the ooze. Any Wood Elf that violated the Green Pact, either by shifting or by damaging the Green, would be condemned to return to the formlessness of the ooze. Their names would be scrubbed from the story Ifri's telling and replaced with silence. The Wood Elves tell that those who are favored by the Green have the power to release the condemned from the ooze. But where the condemned go, and what form they take once they are released is unknown. No one has ever seen the ooze, or heard the souls trapped in it, or met the one who can relieve the condemned of their punishment. But if you ask a Wood Elf if he thinks the ooze is just a tale, he will invariably reply, there is no such thing as just a tale. I hope you've been enjoying these lore readings, and if you have, please do consider subscribing to the channel. Thanks for watching.